This is the macro show. This is pregame, okay? We're trying to play the game that's in front of us today. You know, leadership matters at Hedgeye. So again, being transparent, accountable, and trustworthy people. This is a game about playing and weighing probabilities. It's not about picking stocks. It's about picking the right portfolio.
Walk through the history of ODTE. Why has it suddenly become overarching, and how do you identify significance? I know you look at this daily, but is it the daily option volume traded, open interest, put call, volume ratio?
Well, I don't want to go every day and let's do the history of options. I mean, the reason why it matters is because we have daily options, right? When the world went from monthly to weekly to daily, it opened the window for people to speculate, right? And big firms to bully these options. You know, there are three big dealers, Susquehanna, Goldman, and Citadel, that obviously are going to execute. If they get an order to sell a bunch of puts and or buy a bunch of calls, they're going to do the other side, which is suppress vol. You know, we don't have to talk about this every day, right? We don't need to just say that every day. Like, why is there gravity in the world? Why is there? These are just points, okay? So what we're looking for is intraday bullying of the options, okay? So that's why I put up the most actives board. I know many of you don't have a Bloomberg or whatever, but you can look it up and you can see the heat. You can see when they're pushing it or trying to bully it. You can see when they pull back. So that's what we're doing, is we're just observing that. When you think top down, though, this is the last point I want to make on this, because everyone's asking about this. The most important question, though, is what do you do with it? I can't imagine what you would do if you didn't have a risk range process and you didn't have thresholds, like you didn't believe that VIX under 19 is a very dangerous place to be buying anything. Like, these are assumptions. Like this morning, I said, in the early look, look, until every CEO or many CEOs acknowledge that we're in a recession, it's deepening, and what the actual quads are in terms of economic conditions, that we're really not talking the same language, never mind overlaying where is implied vol versus the risk range, where is ODTE buying. That's a lot of stuff I just said in a short window of time that gets me to make some decisions, okay? In as much as it told me not to make any decisions, it's not like I shorted XLY 2 days before that on the first move up. I waited. It's not like it came back and shorted XLK yet. I will. I've been right on that 23 times going back in a row, going back to 2019. Do you think my timing's okay? Yeah. And it totally involves understanding the dynamics of this to me, okay? But again, if you boil it down to what's really going on in the world, there is a lack of liquidity. M2, money supply growth, just hit its most negative number ever on a year-over-year basis. Then they'll talk about I don't care about the levels. I care about the rate of change. That's all I care about. Negative 1.3%. Corporate profits have gone negative. Liquidity at the corporate level is going down. When you think about not having liquidity, you can't get out of small cap longs. You can't get out of certain credits. Think about it. You're allocating to people that can't get out of these things. Why not allocate to somebody who doesn't need to have a liquidity problem? They literally settle their book 6.5 hours in a day. It's not like these strategies aren't being funded, right? I think from a top-down perspective, it's a result of the crisis we're in, as it is most of the time. You know, people find things that can work in certain conditions. And then, in this case, I think there's going to be an event. I don't know when, but it's typically going to happen from the top end of the range when you have economic conditions that wake you up in a meaningful way, and that game just ends, or they just press it the other way. It could go a lot of different ways. So look at how I could just go on and on and on about this, but I'll stop.